Ukraine. That's what they
Exactly.
should do. That's what they should do.
So I'm just wondering, when ABC, if they would ask him, I'm sure they have to ask him, so how is it that you got paid $83,000 a month in a job that you knew nothing about? How did that happen? What would he answer to that? My charm? I mean, what is it? He can't answer that. How did you get paid $83,000 a month in a business you knew nothing about? I can't wait to hear what he has to say there.
John, that's why Joe Biden's not going to be there, because when they ask that question, he's just going to point to his dad. This guy, this is why I got this job that I have no experience with all this geetus. This guy.
I would be looking saying, she's asking you. You should answer the question.
Dad, we all know why, so you can take this one over, Dad.
I mean, honestly, 12 days. And why were you on Air Force 2? Twice, both in Ukraine and China. And I don't know. To me, that just cracks me up. That just makes me laugh. All right, and then the big news of the day today was that apparently Hunter Biden is walking away from the board of a Chinese-backed private equity company that hired him.
John,
it's
not Ukraine.
No, not
Chinese. All right, I just want to be clear about that.
But the name I have to find it. It begins with a B as well.
All right.
Darn it, I'll find it in a second. It was BHR, divesting from BHR Equities. I think that's his company. Anyway, he's got to answer for that. $1.5 billion. How did that happen?
Again, just point right to Daddy, sitting right next to you. There you go.
And he's going to look back at his son and go, "You tell him they were talking to you. I had no part of it."
See, that's why we want them to both interview them, because it'll basically be a game of hot potato, corruption, hot potato. They'll just be throwing it back and forth to each other.
It will be hysterical. So, and then I guess what's going on here is that the young Hunter Biden, 49 years old young, pledged that he wouldn't work for any foreign-owned companies or serve on their boards during a potential Biden administration. So yet other reports say he's probably going to leave in a couple of weeks. Does this mean that he's going to wait to see whether he gets elected or not and then decide, or is he getting out now?
Well, see, what you just said right there, that's the main. All of Joe Biden's primary opponents, that's basically been the crux of what they have been complaining about, whether it was Kamala saying that I would probably not let a child of a vice president work for some foreign energy company like that. Beto saying that if I was president, which I find that hilarious, that Beto's saying if I were president, I would not allow a family member or anyone in my cabinet's family member to work in a position like that. Their main attack line has been that, Joe, it was just sloppy of you to let this happen with the connections that you had in Washington at the time.
Well, speaking of it like that, this was the line of the day that I read. So his legal counsel, a guy named George Meccico, had said, the statement that they gave, Hunter always understood that his father would be guided entirely and unequivocally by established U.S. policy, regardless of its effects on Hunter's professional interests, the statement said. He never anticipated, this is the part I loved, he never anticipated the barrage of false charges against both him and his father by the President of the United States. How could you not expect the barrage of charges? Now, he's calling it false charges. We know they're not false. You didn't think that the President of the United States was going to hit you on this? Do you know who the President of the United States is?
Who doesn't Trump hit? I mean, that's an easier question.
I mean, honestly, that's what he does. That's hysterical. I didn't think that President Trump was going to bring this up. People have been bringing this up since 2015 in different articles. And John Solomon has just done a piece on it he's done so many pieces on this that you can't get away from this. I was saying before Joe Biden, when there was a rumor of him running for president, I'm like, he'll never survive it because of Ukraine. And you didn't expect that the Trumpster was going to do something with this? You have got to be kidding me. I find that
shows
hysterical.
How ill-equipped he really is to be running for president against the current occupant of the White House.
Obviously, George Meccico is lying. Obviously, what he's doing is he's trying to take a shot at Trump for bringing it out and just calling it a false accusation. He knew very well that the Trumpster was going to say something about this. That is just absurd. And then while all of this was going on, apparently Bradley Byrne from Alabama, he announced his plan to file a resolution for them to investigate this. That's something I've been wondering. Why is it that the Republicans haven't been more on the offensive when it comes to investigating this? I find this extremely unusual. All
I mean,
right.
their claim is that they're fighting back against impeachment, but you can also go after this.
You can very much go after
The
this.
saying that every politician loves to say, Republicans, I know you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can fight impeachment and go after this, the real corruption at hand, instead of this little sideshow that the Democrats are trying to get you to play.
Well, he's saying, look, we got to go after his business dealings on foreign soil. Because his dad was vice president. You've got to know if there's corruption. If the vice president, the former vice president, if he was safe on this, right? If it was a false charge, he should be welcoming this to clear his name. But this has dragged on so long, and the fact that they haven't been able to clear this, that alone speaks volumes to me. It just does. Burns said that he will file the legislation on Tuesday, tomorrow, because he wants Congress to get to the bottom of the Biden's shady dealings. He must be listening to my show. I say shady all the time. Biden's shady dealings, adding it would be hypocritical of Democrats to refuse to investigate. Exactly. It's idiotic for you not to. He says, I'm not asking for a foreign government to investigate him. I want the United States Congress to investigate him. The problem is the only way the United States government can investigate him is to do exactly what Barr and Horowitz and Durham are doing right now. Go overseas. How are you going to investigate something that happened with Ukraine and China if you don't go to Ukraine and China? You got to go there. You have to go there. So he goes, I just want to know the facts. We all want to know the facts.
Man, not all of us, John. Not all of us, but I get your drift, buddy.
You don't want to know what this Durham and
No,
Horowitz and Barr.
Listen, everyone in this studio wants to know the facts.
Yeah.
And there's some other people, especially a little person running for president that may not be interested in getting all the facts of this.
Right.
But, you know.
So Hunter Biden has been under fire since the whole China thing rolled out in 2013, which he was. And the funny thing is this all ties in. This all ties in. The timing of the lucrative deal has been brought into question as it came only 12 days after Hunter visited China. We were talking about the China deal now. After he visited China with his father aboard Air Force Two. I can't imagine that you went there just to hang out on vacation, hang out with your pop, to have father-son bonding time. Yeah. And 12 days later, you walked out with $1.5 billion.
Now, John,
there's never been anybody in the history of the world that lucky.
This sounds almost as suspicious as when Bill Clinton met with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac, and then just a few days later,
inexplicably.
Wow. Whoa. I mean, wow. Whoa. I mean, one more time. Wow. Whoa. Yeah. Wow. So, yeah, the former president meets with the attorney general secretly on a tarmac, and then just a few days later, he finds out that that former president's wife did nothing wrong. Funny.
Loretta, what are you doing here? How did you get here? I didn't know you were going to be here.
This has Bill Clinton, Loretta Lynch type of story written all over.
It hasn't, except the only piece missing back then was the $1.5 billion.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So he goes with Hunter and with the granddaughter. You would have thought that Hunter would have been with the kids, just visiting China, just showing the sights, having some tour guide. Doing the thing,
in China
for the vice president's son and his family. You would think that that's what they were doing, but no. 12 days later, $1.5 billion. So where did the tour guide take you that you ran into some China company that gave you $1.5 billion? That is hysterical. So do you think they'll ask about that?
John, listen, like I said, this is going to be the biggest indicator about if the media at large is still on Joe Biden's side or not. Tomorrow's interview with our very own ABC, because if it's a bunch of softballs and it's like Pee Wee League softball, okay, then we're going to know who they're still playing for. But if they're asking tough questions, hard questions, and listen, just a smidget of actually pushing back on the Bidens, then we might know that there may be a sea change in who the mainstreams are pushing for.
What an absolute tragedy if ABC did not pounce on this, because this is going to be the biggest ratings bonanza they could possibly have. And
for people who care, this could beat the debate.
Yeah.
I'm almost more excited for this than the actual debate.
That's what the point I was about to bring up. This is actually more must-see TV than the debates, because we've already heard how these debates go.
Exactly.
Now, it could be very fiery, which people are going to wait to see. Are they going to come at each other? But this interview here, this is must-see TV. There's no question about it. This is the best thing that ABC has going tomorrow. Not the debate, the interview. And if they don't ask hard-hitting questions, ABC just lose all respect.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that would just be that would be a nightmare for them, because the better the interview is, the more people are going to tune into the debate. If the interview is a nothing burger, I'm starting to hate using that word, by the way. If it's nothing, then people are going to tune off. They're going to tune away from the debate.
Now, the interview plays before the debate, right?
Yes.
I wonder if there's any bombshells in the interview if the moderators are going to throw a question to Joe Biden. I
Right.
wonder.
Right. So, and that's another thing. So you have all 11 people, excluding Biden, they're getting ready, doing the show prep, getting ready for whatever questions. Do you think they're tuned into the debate, or do you think they're tuned into just their notes
I think
and
it's
prepping?
depending on if there's any bombshells that come out of the ABC interview, that's going to determine if they stick exclusively to just impeachment, or if they start drifting off and maybe let's look into a little bit of what happened with you in Ukraine, Mr. Biden. Maybe, depending on if there's any bombshells. Currently, where it stands right now, I think they follow the advice of the Joe Biden campaign and they stay as far away from mentioning the word China or Ukraine and Joe Biden as they possibly can. If there's some bombshells and ABC holds them to the carpet, there might be some last minute, because it's right before the debate, right?
Right before.
There may be some last minute changes, especially you lower polling candidates. There may be some last minute changes in debate night strategy before they head out onto the stage, depending on the ABC interview.
Yeah, because what I would do is I would make sure I'd have one of my staff videotaping that interview and tell me if there's something hot that I need to know before I go on here so I can see the video for
Literally
myself.
send me a text message if there's something.
Whatever it is. I don't know how long this interview is supposed to be, but if there's something hot that I need to know before I get on that stage, I need to see it before I step on there, because I'm not listening to that campaign manager for Biden. I'm running for president. I don't need to listen to you tell me what I can and cannot say on stage.
Yeah.
That's just absurd.
That guy literally gets paid to make sure you don't win, so maybe you don't listen to him.
And
Just a thought.
Okay, and then taking all this into account, how much pressure is there on ABC and the New York Times, who you
and
say
CNN, New York Times and CNN has the debate.
and CNN? How much pressure is it on them to ask or not ask the tough questions?
I'm telling you, that is going to be the greatest, for all us peasant folk, that's going to be the greatest insight about how the mainstreams and how the party as a whole, because as Donald Trump Jr. says, the media is nothing but the Democrats' marketing division, how they actually feel about this race. Because now, but I don't think there's enough on the table right now. I don't think there's enough on the table. That's why I'm saying something bigger has to come out in the ABC interview.
I don't know. I think there's plenty that if they did not do this interview, and I know that I've got a chance that I may not make the debate stage again, I take what I have, $83,000 a month, not knowing anything. You went to China. I'm asking questions. I'm asking some questions. Somebody has to. Look, my back is up against the wall. And unless I'm saying I'm going to play nice to hopefully get a VP spot. See, again, we've talked about Tulsi Gabbard. I just don't see Tulsi playing to lose. That's why I think she's the one. I can see Booker playing to lose. I mean, I can. I'm sorry. He comes off weak.
Beto playing to lose.
Pete's got a lot of money in the coffer. He doesn't have to worry about that. Even if he's
got a lot of money, but not a lot of support.
Not a lot of support yet. But as more people get off the stage, and there's only 4 or 5 left, and he's got enough money to carry him over to that point, then he can start acting tougher, or he can start asking harder questions. He doesn't have to do that now. Tulsi, Booker, those guys do. Tulsi, I think, has the backbone to do it. Booker, I don't think so. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm waiting. I got to find out what time that is. It's probably going to be during my show tomorrow.
Most likely.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to. I don't know. We have to figure out whether or not we're going to tune into this or not, because if we're going to have the debate on, we may want to have the interview on. I mean, really, think about it. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Hey,
ABC, listen.
Yeah.
Come through. Ask the tough questions.
Yeah,
don't do, because like we said in the last debate, the media's doing this thing where they ask a really, really hardcore question. Like, Joe, why'd you get all that money? And then they know that Joe is going to dance around it, and then they don't pressure him to actually answer the question. And that covers their back when we come at them and say they ask soft questions. No, we ask the question. But it's all rehearsed. They all know we ask you a super tough question, you dance around it, and we don't push for a follow-up.
All right, Facebook, stay with us. Radio, they're going to cut to the NFL game today, Detroit and Green Bay.
Who you got money on?
Green Bay.
All right, I got money on the cheerleaders. See you after this.
Woody. Woody.
Please visit us today and be sure to listen to our show every Monday morning. God bless.
Hey, so NFL's okay? All right, yeah, go ahead and turn my. I'm not going to do my show live because that internet's just not going to be conducive to doing it. So, all right. All right, thanks. Bye bye. All right.